I've got plans for this bike. I've got ideas in my head as to what I want it to look like.
For a while, you've heard me talk about like phase one of this build here on my Road Glide. I use the term build like
Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today on what is kind of a cool day for June up here, that's for sure. We've had a cooler, rainier start to our summer this year, which is a little outside the norm, but it does keep some of the wildfires and smoke down, so I guess in some ways it's good. It's definitely a bit cool, but I'm going to get out on the bike today, take you guys along, testing out this new to me kind of motovlog setup. I've always wanted to use my DJI Action 4 for motovlogging like this in the POV style on my helmet. Haven't in the past because I always found on my adventure bikes, as I was going from seated to standing and moving positions, the angle was always kind of wonky depending on how I was leaning on the bars. So I'm excited to try this one out. No idea how the audio is going to turn out, but we'll see what happens.
Up that beat just like it's takeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes, and you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it.
No particular destination today. Mainly just out. I need to get enough kilometers on my bike to get it in for its first service, which is 1,600. So we're currently sitting at 687. So see if we can't get it close to 1,600 in the next 10 days, because I already have the service appointment booked.
Repeat, just let the beat kick. Everywhere you go, you bring the roof down. Everybody knows you got your own sound.
I'm having some major regret currently not putting on a jacket. But we're out and out, so let's go for a ride.
The way you like it, oh, yeah, you like it. The way you like it now, yeah, you like it. The way you like it, oh, so good, so fresh. Get up on your feet. Show me you got soul.
For any of you that have followed me on social media for a while, you've heard me talk about like phase one of this build here on my Road Glide. I use the term build lightly. I'm not a fabricator. I'm simply bolting on parts to it to turn it more into the bike that I want. So that's what I want to talk about in this video today. My initial goal for this bike for this season was just to make it a little more comfortable for touring, for big road trips. I don't have a big lot for it on the docket for this summer. We have one big trip coming to Sturgis. That's going to be the standard for this season. I generally do a couple of smaller trips throughout the year, but got a little more work on my plate this year, which is fine too, because if I've learned nothing else since getting into motorcycles, then it seems Harleys specifically, or cruisers specifically, so that the parts can get pricey. So we've got to fund those somehow. The weather forecast was not calling for it to be this cool today when I checked yesterday. Well, I'm going to carry on riding. Enjoy a little bit of that with me, and let's go find a spot where we can sit down and talk about what I've done to the bike so far and what I'll call phase one and what the next steps might look like for it. Let's go for a ride.
What's up, guys? I know I said that I'd find somewhere out here to sit and we'd talk about phase one of the bike and what the next steps could look like, but I'm actually getting rained on currently, so let's take this back to the shop, shall we? What's up, guys? We're back from a ride. We're out in the shop. The Road Glide pulled in. We managed to escape most of the weather without getting too wet. But as I mentioned on the road, we're building this thing in phases because parts are ridiculously expensive. Before I even left the dealer with it, I had Harley actually install a couple of things for me. So let's start with the three things, I think it's three, that I had them put on before I even brought it home. Number one right here is these highway pegs. Surprised at how much room I have on this bike, even with just the floorboards, but it's nice to be able to stretch your legs out every now and then. So these come in super handy. I use them fairly regularly. Second thing I had them put on for me is these crash bars back here. This should protect the saddlebags in the event of a drop or low speed slide, hopefully. And if not, well, they look kind of cool back there anyway. The other two things that I actually had Harley put on for me was one, this seat. So this right here is the Harley Davidson tall boy seat. Sits you about an inch up higher and an inch further back than the stock one, which is important. I'm 6'3", so fairly tall. I also had them pre-install this docking hardware so we could mount this tour pack on nice and easy. And that's what I had the dealership install for me before I brought the bike home. Now I've got plans for this bike. I've got ideas in my head as to what I want it to look like. But down the road, those highway pegs will probably be billet. The crash bars on the front will probably be changed. The seat will probably end up being something a little more custom. But in the meantime, these are just fine and are going to be great. My goal for the first phase of this build was simply to make the bike a little more friendly for touring and just some small ergonomic improvements, so it was a little more comfortable for some road trips I have coming up this year. First thing I put on myself was this 10-inch Sport Flare windscreen from Clockworks. The stock windscreen that came on this bike was actually very flat. It didn't allow for much deflection, and I found the wind was hitting me right square in the helmet. So in order to counteract that, I went with this 10-inch Sport Flare. Now I'm tall, so I could have very easily gotten away with a much higher windscreen that would have no doubt deflected even more wind away from the top of my head. But I didn't want to go with something too tall just for looks. I wanted to maintain like that sleekness of the front end that matched the fairing, and this 10-inch Clockworks, the Sport Flare, works very well for me. Second little mod I did fairly quickly is this little handlebar bag here from Thrash and Supply. My adventure bikes, I've always ran a tank bag. Super handy for storage. Now the Road Glide already has a couple of nice compartments in the fairing. This little bag is just a great spot for me to clip a camera, put my wallet quickly, keys. Bit extra storage never hurts. Third and final thing that I put on the bike myself, as far as improving the road trip ability, is that a word, of the bike? Is this Razor tour pack here from Hogworks. Nice and slim. Still maintains a nice slim, sleek look on the bike. Gives a bit extra storage. Also went with the liner. Same as we did here on the saddlebags. They just add a real nice touch to the interior bag. Protects your bag, and not just protects your bag, also gives a bunch of extra storage here if you need it, and protects anything you might put in there as well. And so far as my Road Glide goes, that's it. I've got some big plans for this bike eventually. We'll get into some engine modifications, exhaust, we'll do some lights probably. Plan on going with like a black and gold theme on this bike. I'm not sure if I'm going to have gold built parts, gold wheels, but that's upgrades for like a little ways down the road. First thing I want to put on this thing, some serious miles, and that's the plan. I do eventually want some additional performance, but I still want to maintain the reliability of the bike. So in my mind, I'm thinking performance bagger meets comfortable, reliable touring bike. Maybe a pro touring bike. I don't know. But either way, as I add things to the bike. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. I'll put new videos out on what I've done as I do it. Appreciate you guys watching, and as always, we'll see you on the road.